welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Canal Algérie News, and these are our top stories. The President of the Republic, Majid Tebboune, signs the 2026 finance law. The Council of Ministers, chaired by the President of the Republic, approves increases in retirement benefit and the creation of 2 new administrative districts in Al-Ulma and Maghnia. The President of the Republic orders not to demolish illegal buildings during the winter season and instructs the implementation of storage mechanism to prevent losses for farmers, and stresses that e-commerce is a major challenge requiring everyone's participation to achieve this economic goal. As part of the strategy to diversify the national industry fabric, promising project for the production of automotive parts and accessories in El Bouaqi will create new jobs and increase production rates. And in Morocco, amidst complete neglect by the Makhzen regime, large segment of the Moroccan population struggle with dire living conditions. Welcome back. The President of the Republic, Majid Tebboune, signed on Sunday the finance law of the year 2026. The President of the Republic, Majid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of National Defense, chaired a Council of Ministers meeting discussing higher retirement benefits, the creation of 2 new administrative districts and the National E-Commerce Development Strategy. More details with Najah Diyar.
The President of the Republic, Majid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of the National Defense, chaired a meeting of the Council of Ministers, which examined presentations related to the increase in retirement pensions and allowances, the creation of 2 new administrative districts, as well as the national strategy for the development of e-commerce. Following the presentation of the agenda and a summary of the decisions of the previous Council of Ministers meeting, and after the Prime Minister presented a report on government activity over the past 2 weeks, the President of the Republic issued his instructions, directives and guidance as follows. Regarding the presentation on the increase in retirement pensions and allowances, the Council of Ministers approved the increase of 10% for retirees whose pensions are equal to or less than 20,000 dinars, and 5% for retirees whose pensions exceed 20,000 dinars. It is worth noting that these increases follow previous adjustments that affected the guaranteed minimum wage. Concerning the creation of 2 new administrative districts, the Council of Ministers approved the creation of 2 new administrative districts, namely Maghnia and Al-Ulma. In relation to the national strategy for the development of e-commerce, the President of the Republic emphasized that the e-commerce represents a major challenge that requires the participation of all stakeholders in order to achieve this economic objective. This entails the use of the necessary tools, particularly ensuring the digital security, introducing further facilitation measures, and encouraging trade in this direction. He stressed that the commercial transparency is the primary objective and the true outcome of the digitalization and e-commerce. And about general directives, the President of the Republic instructed that no demolition operations of illegal housing be carried out during the winter season, and ordered the immediate suspension of mayors who resort to such arbitrary measures in the height of winter, without due regard for applicable Algerian laws and international norms. He further directed the governors of the Republic to ensure that any such operations are conducted strictly within the established legal frameworks. The President also instructed the Ministers of Agriculture and the Interior to coordinate and ensure, through all necessary mechanisms and procedures, that farmers do not incur losses resulting from the stagnation of certain agricultural crops, notably by restoring the strategic storage in order to preserve price stability.
The 2026 Finance Bill takes into account comprehensive measures that aim to reinforce investment and social gains, as well as considerable minimum wage increase. Mena Boubagra.
The 2026 Finance Bill contains articles and figures based on important economic indicators that preserve the state's major financial balance and combine intensified development investment with a commitment to the social aspect of the state. This approach is clearly reflected in the economic file, which makes the bill a priority, as the government has allocated a considerable financial envelope for wages, reflected in an increase in the minimum wage guaranteed from 20,000 to 24,000 dinars, starting in January 2026. This increase is the first of its kind since the guaranteed minimum wage was raised in recent years. Unemployment benefits were also raised from 15,000 to 18,000 dinars, with a full health coverage, to ensure a minimum income that preserves the dignity of the citizens during their search for employment. In enacting the budget law, the public authorities focused on preserving the legal capacity of citizens, improving the living conditions, reducing the burden on consumers, and maintaining price stability. Social transfers amounted to approximately 6,000 billion Algerian dinars, equivalent to 46 billion US dollars, which is the one-third of the budget. The 2026 Finance Bill did not include any new taxes, easing the economic burden on citizens. The text reflects the state's orientation towards financing the national economy through major investments with a return on investment in an effort to diversify the economy and reduce dependence on hydrocarbons, despite adopting a conservative reference price for a barrel of oil at $60. It is a vision that will give a strong boost to the entrepreneurial ecosystem, with the goal of creating 20,000 startups by 2029. Through unprecedented incentives, including the extension of major tax exemptions, which charts a course for a more cohesive national economy with diversified sources, showcasing social stability and protecting the prevailing economic balance.
The Secretary of State, Shaib Sofian, led Algeria's delegation to the 11th World Forum of the United Nations Alliance of Civilization held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Addressing the high-level meeting of the Group of the Friends, he reaffirmed Algeria's call for a comprehensive approach grounded in cooperation and strengthening of cultural, religious and scientific ties, while highlighting Algeria's international efforts to promote peaceful coexistence. Al-Bouaqi in eastern Algeria is emerging as a dynamic industrial hub driven by strong investment in mechanical industries. The region is positioning itself as a center for automotive spare parts and accessories, supporting efforts to diversify the national industry, reduce imports, boost integration and create jobs. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
Specializing in the manufacture of automotive spare parts and accessories, this factory has recently undergone a major expansion that has significantly boosted its production capacity. The development has allowed the company to diversify its output, adding floor mats and lighting equipment suitable for all types of vehicles, with operations based in Ain Mlila. We had difficulty marketing our product, but with the government's oversight of imports, our production has found buyers on the national market. After 17 years of relying on imported filters of various types, this local unit was established to meet growing demand. It now boasts a 35% local content rate and has become a benchmark in the national market. We currently produce 120 different types of parts and are ready to expand to 1,300. We acquire the necessary industrial land. We manufacture spare parts for various brands, including Jetour, Fiat and Chery. We have also received orders from Mauritanian clients, but the current size of the factory does not allow us to fulfill them within the required time frame. Several industrial units will be commissioned before the end of the year, creating at least 400 jobs. Beyond the figures and production lines, an entire industrial ecosystem is being established by focusing on the local manufacturing of spare parts and strengthening the subcontracting network. Algeria is laying the foundations for a more integrated automotive industry, creating value
jobs and sustainable expertise.
Agriculture being a strategic sector for the national economy, with successful investment models that transformed ideas into productive and sustainable projects through the constant support of the government, starting with Naama. Mena Boubagra.
In Tude, in the province of Naama, this pilot farm managed by Budouaya Al-Habib has now established itself as a true model of success. Of the 26 hectares cultivated, 4 are dedicated to olive trees. Today we have 1,500 olive trees as well as palm trees, pomegranate trees and vines. The farm also includes cattle and sheep breeding, and we produce animal feed. Initially, we rehabilitated the land with our own resources before receiving support from the state. Today, we need an oil mill in the province. If an investor were to set one up here, it could be very profitable. To develop and improve this production, the farmer has taken up fish farming. Among other advantages, raising 2,000 red tilapia has enabled him to replace chemical fertilizers with organic fertilizer. Our experiment has been 100% successful. In 6 months, the fish have reached the expected weight of 250 grams each. The farmer received technical support, notably in facilitating the electrification of his farm, introducing drip irrigation and providing the necessary support for integrating fish farming into agriculture, as well as for the subsequent marketing of the fish. Through initiatives such as these, a new vision of Saharan agriculture is taking shape by transforming climatic constraints into opportunities. They are making a lasting contribution to the development of the south of the country.
In Morocco, children and families are forced onto the streets due to housing shortage and demolitions, facing danger and neglect, while authorities remain indifferent. Najatiyar.
Defenseless children are left to survive on the streets in Morocco, exposed to constant danger, while nearby students sleep outside university residence due to the severe shortage of accommodation, braving the harsh winter cold.
At night, the cries of children who are assaulted can be heard. Some aren't even 10 years old and sleep on cardboard. They are in grave danger, especially during the night.
By demolition precarious housing, the Makhzen is driving entire families onto the streets, worsening the crisis instead of providing shelters.
We are on the street with our children. Fortunately, we have food and water, but we have nowhere to sleep at night. We are living on the street, an entire family outside with children. Our house is right in front of us, but we are no longer allowed to enter.
Continuing demolition operations, the Makhzen remains unmoved, pushing the population deeper into distress.
In Western Sahara, the Moroccan occupier continues to use Sahrawi resources under the cover of renewable energy project. Mena Boubagra.
A new international report reignites the debate surrounding Western Sahara. Published by Western Sahara Resource Watch, the document highlights a strategy of systematic plundering of Western Sahara's natural resources by the Makhzen, which is simultaneously developing energy projects in the occupied Sahrawi territories. According to the report, these initiatives seek to give economic legitimacy to the occupation and establish a policy of fait accompli on the ground. The international organization believes that these projects are part of a strategy to mask the reality of the occupation and strengthen Morocco's economic hold over Western Sahara. The report also refers to violations of international law and recalls that Western Sahara and Morocco are two distinct and separate territories under international law, in accordance with the decision of the Court of Justice of the European Union. The document also calls on the international community to take accountability, stressing that any energy project or exploitation of natural resources in the occupied Sahrawi territories outside the framework of the United Nations constitutes a violation of international law.
That was it for tonight. On behalf of all the team that made this broadcast possible, I do thank you for watching us. Stay tuned on Canal Algérie. Bye for now.